So what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Movement6, and before we start, I want to start again with this habit. A huge thank to everybody who subbed this week, but especially a shout out to Stealth Dragon. Thank you so much for the kind words, but also pushing the channel here. I think we know each other a long time, Stealth. I think I subbed one of the first to your channel, and I can't have more respect for how you're doing your channel and the numbers you're taking on the subscription. So thank you very much for all your support and wishing you all the best, of course. Now, as I said in my previous video, I've been doing a lot of decoration, redecoration, cable management in the studio. I'm finally done, so I've got my hands on all the software again, working on Modern Warfare, Warzone, Battle Royale, Zombies content, and some Siege as well. But I can't stop breaking this item to you guys right now. Now, I've said it before, and I will say it again. The Xbox Series S is one of the most horseshit consoles ever produced, ever thought up, ever created. There is no reason for this console to exist other than showing that Microsoft and Xbox department is just highly afraid of Sony. They've lost this generation of console wars, of course. PlayStation 4 outsold the Xbox One environment. There are better exclusives on the PlayStation. That's just a fact. And if we look at how the Xbox One was positioned, launched, revealed, and well, how it was maintained during the entire lifespan, it's just not great, guys. And for somebody who is not a fanboy of either one of them, it just hurts to see such a great console builder, software builder company just screw up its entire gamma of gaming and gamers and this community with the Xbox One. It's just painful to see. I've got all the consoles, and I think we as gamers are, well, we only benefit if we've got a healthy, strong competition between Microsoft and Sony, of course. Microsoft now buying Bethesda, or bought Bethesda, is finally a good sign because we're focusing on software. We're focusing on the exclusives that might come to the Xbox environment, which can't be played on a PlayStation. And that is, in essence, what we gamers want to see. Now, with the Xbox Series S revealed some time ago, I was just thinking, why is this even existing, right? You want to have a next generation fully focused on that next generation. And now you say, okay, well, you can have the next generation, but we have got a very budget environment. So why would there be a reason for people to go for an Xbox Series X then? Even with the play everything everywhere philosophy that Xbox has, I'm starting to doubt how much they believe in the next generation. And if we now run the numbers of the Xbox Series S, we're again disappointed if what we can find on this platform, because yes, the Xbox Series S will have ray tracing capabilities. Yes, it will have the shorter load times, of course, because there is some upgrades in hardware. But if we then hear that we will have the same emerging environments, or what the hell that means, but promised on 1440p and running up to a max of 120 frames per second. But now we see that Yakuza Like a Dragon, for example, which is not by any means, by any standards, a huge immersive environment that is high demanding, can only run on 900p on an Xbox Series S with locked on a 60 frames per second. And there are now already games that can only run the 1440p as promised on a locked 30 frames per second. The fuck? What? Let's take the article with this as well. So, as said, for me, the Xbox Series S proves nothing else than a company that is not confident enough to stick their ass behind a new platform and take the battle to PlayStation. And if you want to take a battle to PlayStation, you do not need hardware alone. And that was the biggest problem we have seen in the whole release cycle of the Xbox One, of Xbox Series X, or the reveal cycle, is that it was so highly focused on hardware that people are now questioning, but what is the uniqueness of this platform that I'm not able to find on any other platform? And as an answer, they said, well, listen, we also have a budget entry into the next generation, giving you more or less the same experience you have on the Xbox Series X. But that, again, also fails that a game like Yakuza Like a Dragon is not living up to any standards we're used to in the current generation. But let's dive into this, okay? So the Xbox Series S is currently in an interesting position. While just yesterday we reported that some games will run at resolutions far greater than the advertised 1440p, it appears as though the lower powered Xbox console will equally run at resolutions far lower. Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is being positioned as one of Xbox's main launch title exclusives, has been confirmed to run as low as a 900p on the Xbox Series S. When Yakuza Like a Dragon launches on the Xbox Series S and X, the game will include two different rendering modes. The high resolution mode will be limited to 30 frames per second, but will hit 4K on the Xbox Series X, while also achieving the advertised 1440p on the Xbox Series S. So this game will run 30 frames per second when you have it on high resolution modus on the Xbox Series X. No doubt that if you lower the resolution to maybe, I don't know, 1440p on the Xbox Series X as well, that you will hit higher frame rates. But the 1440p on the Series X will give you it 30 frames per second. That being said, when running using the game's high frame rate mode, which will push the game to 60 frames per second, the Xbox Series X will be brought down to 1440p. I just said it. Whereas the Xbox Series S will reduce to 900p. 900p! I haven't seen these numbers, I think, since the PlayStation 3, which ran on a whooping 720p, right? Which was more or less HD ready, as we've come to call it. But what the hell, you know? While offering options between resolution and frame rate is always appreciated, 900p on a next-gen system may surprise some players. Is it worth nothing that Yakuza Like a Dragon uses the Dragon engine, which is known to be relatively taxing on hardware? For previous entries in the series which used the engine, the PS4 version operated at a 900p at 30 frames per second, where the Pro only managed to push the resolution to 1080p, still at 30 frames per second. So while the Xbox Series S does see an improvement over the last gen versions, the inability to hit 1080p may disappoint someone. So here we go. We have a PlayStation 4 which was able to run the same engine used for the game Yakuza Like a Dragon to hit 30 frames per second on a 1080p output. But now with the Xbox Series S, they've got a 900p output. This just blows my mind. You know, this is the whole trouble with the Xbox lineup and how they're positioning it for the next current generation. There is no reason to buy an Xbox Series S. There is no reason. I think even an Xbox One X is able to run this game, maybe a bit downscaled left and right, but still very beautiful, in 1080p in 60 frames per second if they really want to. So the Xbox Series S is the most useless console that is only causing a lack of focus from Xbox on what really matters, is to push one platform, get your ass behind it, and create content that is so highly optimized for that platform that it will blow you away. 4K gaming, it's not really necessary for me, but with targets and hardware we have, to me, you want to have a system that if it runs on 1440p, it will easily hit 100 plus frames per second, maybe even touch the 200 frames per second. And that's what we want to see on the next generation of consoles. Now, what I'm getting really ticked off about in the upcoming new generation, now we're leading up to that, is the constant focus on games we already know and then show how much the load time has improved. I give a rat's ass. I've been playing 7-8 years on Xbox Ones and on PlayStation 4s, and I was fine with the load time. Yes, of course, Red Dead Redemption 2 sometimes had pretty annoying long load times, but that is just a game. That's not a unique selling point. The unique selling point is to have a system that is maybe 4 or 5 times faster, better, more immersive and interesting than what we have now, and create games for it which is highly optimized for that environment. Now, the Xbox Series S, and I've checked it on Dutch websites, I don't know how it's with you guys. If you want to buy a PlayStation 5, no go, sold out. If you want to buy an Xbox Series X, sold out. It's hard to get. Same like PlayStation 5. If I want to pre-order the Xbox Series S, people are able to find it. There are websites in the Netherlands where you can just buy it right now. There is no limitation. There is no stop. You can just buy it, and it will be delivered on launch date in your home. So people are noticing it. People are seeing this. This is a step back, whether you now have loading times that are quicker and ray tracing built into it. The 900p on an Xbox Series S, this is we've put that behind us a long time. I think even 7 years ago. So this is something I wanted to break to you guys. I am anxious to hear you guys. How are you feeling about the Xbox Series S? To me, this console is dead in the water before the next generation already starts. Now, I'll be back with you very shortly, working on tons of content as promised for Rainbow Six Siege and for Modern Warfare, Zombie Royale in particular. Looking forward to understand what your take is on the Xbox Series S, guys. I'll be with you shortly. Back to the maps.